I think it's time to explain how I communicate with machine elves. Years of contact allow me to collect a huge amount of information that is helping now thousands of people. I never expected to be the messenger, and I'm extremely grateful for this interdimensional gift. As explained in my previous videos, I'm building now the loving 434 structure necessary to help as many people as possible. I can't do it without your help, so if you would like to be a part of this amazing process, please join Patreon, Subscribestar, or help through PayPal or cryptocurrencies. Let's make this life easier for each other. Join all other 434 social media, and if you wish to watch some of my personal videos, go to my second YouTube channel. All links in the video description. All of my communication happens on magic mushrooms. I'm hypersensitive to psilocybin, and I usually take a small dose of anything between half a gram and 0.75 gram dried mushrooms. My mushrooms are always Cubensis B+. I tried Golden Teacher once, and I was told that this is not my strain, and I was not allowed to communicate or enter the mushroom realm. I've never tried any other psychedelics. I was told in one of my messages that sanity is one of the most important things in life, and there's a history of schizophrenia in my family. I noticed on my heroic dose trip that I have a very fragile mind, so at the moment I'm not in a position to try anything else. There is too much going on and I can't afford to do any risky experiments. But I really want to, and one day I'll try everything there is to try. I trip only a few times a year. I have a limited access to mushrooms, and I was told that the entities decide how often I'm allowed to take them. And taking them once every 2-3 months is more than enough, because this is how often I need to reset my hormones, and it also takes a few weeks to transcribe and process all the information from them. I always do lemon tech, which is half a lemon squeezed into a glass of water with pulverized mushrooms. I soak them for 30 minutes, and I'm quite lucky because I love their taste and I hardly ever get any stomach sensations. After drinking, I give it 30 minutes and wait for the first energy rush, and then I start listening to music. I usually get happy and energized, and depending on the dose, I start dancing. This is something I always do when I'm really happy. I love it because I started dancing to music at home when I was 14, and I stopped doing it when I reached my mid-20s, and then I started again when I was 35. Mushrooms allow me to feel like a teenager again. As soon as the entities show up, I'm usually being greeted, and I get some introductory messages on everything that happened since my last contact. I walk around the house preparing for the trip while enjoying the happy, relaxing mindset until I'm told that it's time to turn off the lights and lay down in the darkness. I always do it at night, although one of my most amazing trips happened at the backseat of my car, but I only do it during warm seasons. So I go under a blanket with my eyes closed and I clear my mind. That's how it starts. You could call it meditation, but once the contact starts, it is hard for me to have any thoughts of my own as I start getting visuals and uploaded messages. Very often it starts by machine elves asking me what it is that I want to talk to them about today, and sometimes they just start by uploading the messages. I'm always in the process of collecting questions for them, and on the day when I know I will have a trip, I get the questions in order, selecting the most important ones. Sometimes I manage to get answers to all my questions, and sometimes I don't get to ask any of them because there are more important things that the entities want to tell me about. My trips vary. There are 3 types, and the first one is happy, uplifting trip when I'm being told and shown how wonderful this existence is. This is when I experience true moments of awe. I also experience some facepalm moments saying to myself, dude, how stupid are you? The second type is deep emotional trips with a lot of self-reflecting philosophical issues and a lot of auto-analysis. These are the trips where I hear, dude, look how stupid you are. In a loving way, of course. And where I'm being criticized and told off for many of my ego-driven actions. There's a lot of crying happening during those. The last type is the exploratory Q&A session where I'm allowed to ask questions with answers, triggering one of the first 2 types of communication. My communication is always silent and telepathic. Everything happens behind my closed eyes with vivid visuals, as if it was really happening. You can imagine how awesome it is to visit other realities, seeing all the colorful and emotional entities and dimensions. Very often I just travel through different realms, enjoying the indescribable, breathtaking views. The telepathic nature of communication is absolutely amazing because most answers get uploaded instantly and are turned into knowledge immediately. I ask the question, and once I get the answer, it just becomes a part of my consciousness, as if it was something that I have always known. I will tell you now how I get the answers, as this is a very interesting aspect of communication with machine elves. I send the question telepathically. It is usually either to an entity delegated to me to answer my question, or I send the question out there for anyone to pick up on it. There's usually an entity that comes forward because they know the nature of my question. Sometimes the entities recommend another elf, or they put me in direct contact with the right one. The entities that answer my question sometimes ask for additional details, but usually they know what I mean, and then they enter the question into a very complex and sophisticated machinery. It is absolutely fascinating to watch the question get processed and transformed through devices you couldn't even imagine. Sometimes the question has to travel to another dimension and needs to be processed by another entity. Sometimes it takes a moment for it to come back, or even a few hours, and I get my answers at the end of the trip. Occasionally, the entity that delivers the answer is different from the one that originally received the question. Very often, the answer is in the form of a sentence containing only a few words, and it is amazingly always the most accurate answer. Sometimes I'm being presented the answer in the form of a visual or a scene. Sometimes I'm being taken to another dimension to have the answer shown. Sometimes I will ask the question and the entity will say, "You already know this," and they connect the dots in my head between a few pieces of information. And then I have another facepalm moment. It is like being on NZT in the movie Limitless. Very often halfway through asking the question, I realize that I know the answer myself without their help. Sometimes I'm being taken on a spaceship so that I can travel to another dimension to get my answer. I found a girl who's an expert and a pilot of the Machine Elf spaceships, and she agreed to tell you all about it, so expect the first 434 guest video soon. Many people ask how I can remember all the information, and the answer is simple: a phone recorder. As soon as something gets answered or uploaded, I make a voice note that is kind of a mental bookmark that I use in the next few days to create the notes about all the knowledge I had received. I usually remember everything clearly from the trips, but I noticed that after a few months all this information disappears from my memory, and to make some of my videos I go to voice messages from years ago. I was told by you guys that what I experience is astral projection, and I guess you might call it that. During communication, I'm detached from my body, laying in silent darkness, and I travel mentally to other dimensions. One more thing regarding communication with the entities in this reality. After making the video about prayer, I had many people ask me how to do it. The way they describe prayer is simply sending out thoughts or talking out loud to the entities while imagining or being aware of their presence. I've been doing this for years, long before I had access to machine elves on psychedelics. It's just that I didn't know who I was talking to. Once you do this, you might sense a sudden physical presence of others around you. The communication with the entities are one of the happiest moments of my life. There are no human words that describe how important and valuable this loving communication is to me. I literally had tears of gratitude and happiness in my eyes as I was writing this. I always say that this is like having the ability to experience two lives in one. I want to thank the queen of the insect world for this precious gift. My wonderful golden bee, you changed my life forever, and you helped thousands of others to access the sacred healing words of wisdom from another dimension. For that, I'm forever grateful. I wish you all productive, healing, and safe trips, and I hope that you can all experience this amazing contact. Talk to them and ask for what you need. May the 434 energy flow freely through you. I love you all, 434. To get more answers, watch my other videos. Links in the video description.